Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Jiro here. Finally found some free time today. Anyways, I'm going to be trying to make this fast because I need to do something real quick. I just got done with yard work, then I had to go to the store after taking a shower. Now, time flies by fast there. Anyways, let us begin. Directly after the attack, All Might is heading back to the arena, along with he also has Bakugo. They would arrive, and you just see a crowd basically trying to swim around and actually try and say that those conduits should be locked up, because look what just happened. All Might would then land, and he'd drop off Bakugo as Bakugo runs over and sees that they're all okay. The crowd immediately shout that he shouldn't get close to them, they'll just destroy everything they touch. Deku immediately gets angry, turning to say that, but before he can even open his mouth, All Might would immediately just say, "You should all be ashamed of yourselves." The crowd goes on cheering as All Might just says he wasn't talking to them. As he turns his head, he just points straight at them, saying that you're trying to blame these kids for something another person did. Think about that for a second. Doesn't that sound villainous? These kids lost control of their powers. They had no control over themselves. Now, what does that sound like to you? Does that sound like a planned attack, or even something you would execute on your own allies? As Mei, she somewhat walks over to Deku and Bakugo as they're talking. She actually asks Bakugo what happened to that sweet piece of tech. He would just say that it kinda got destroyed, but he thinks that they'll make him a new one, or at least they can at least fabricate a faster one. She would just say that she would love to see how much progress they have done on those things, because they're amazing. As she does so, she actually grabs onto her goggles, and they immediately just start reworking themselves and rewiring themselves. Now then, they are somewhat confused by what's going on, but Deku thinks he can put it together, not saying anything out loud. Now, as that's going on, you also have students missing. You have Jiro, you have Momo, and you have Ibara, along with Kaminari and quite a few other students. Tanya Ida, and I would say Katsuki Bakugo, but he was in combat at the time. Now, with that being said, people are now talking and trying to figure this all out. They have had over 20,000 casualties in the last 3 hours, with people still being found and people still being rescued. This is not good. This is when UA would say that they're going to be postponing the internships then, because this has been very, very bad. Now then, in this version of events, Stain gets taken down by the hero Fat Gum after his involvement with the police investigation. He would have killed a corrupt hero who would have been involved in dealing drugs. If not, let's say connected to Overhaul's gang. And killing that hero kind of put Fat Gum on his trail, because they were trying to bust the organization, but they now have to deal with someone destroying it before then, and murdering people. So that would eventually happen, and let us continue to our investigation. Deku is even more confused. The entire crew is back at the warehouse, if not back at the facility. They are talking, and this is whenever... hang on. Alrighty. Now, they are launching their own investigation. All Might and Endeavor, along with Best Jeanist, and quite a few of the pros are actually there. And Deku, he is immediately just told that they have to figure this out. In fact, he did not want to do this, but he needed to call in an old friend. As Sir Night-Eye walks into the room, Deku and a lot of other people are in shock as Sir Night-Eye would walk over to Deku, saying, "Ah, yes, so you are the young conduit." Well, as he peers into his future, he is very confused. "Oh, so you are not All Might's successor. That is quite weird. All Might, who did you give it to?" All the other pros are confused as he would just point over to Bakugo. They're somewhat confused, but let's just say that All Might would just shake it off as, "Hey, All Might just gave Bakugo the new prototype." That's what they're thinking. All Might would look into Bakugo's future, and he just thinks, yes, well, this is very weird. Your chances of our success are high. But as he would pull Deku into the next room, he would go on saying that you are a very special case. I've only seen very few do this, but whatever is happening, you have potential. In fact, that power you have, conduit, or whatever, that ability is going to be very useful. Apparently, you are going to face off against someone and fight them soon. I'm not sure where, I'm not sure when. The entire area where I see is just a destroyed landscape. Whatever is happening, or whatever will happen, it is going to be bloody. It is going to be cruel, and it is going to kill a lot of people. But I have seen All Might's future, and he called me in especially for this. I'm sorry, what? What is going on? 7 years ago, after All Might's injuries, I told him that he needed to get some rest, because he will die against a villain in 7 years. All Might told me that he will listen to me, but he did have some resentment against it. He got his rest, and 2 weeks later, one of the predictions I did not see coming to fruition happened. An entire city block exploded and killed a lot of people, along with the rest of the city blowing up and everyone, certain people being reborn with conduits. Why do you keep saying reborn? Because most people, whenever they interact with all these powers and things going off, they die. But whatever the conduit gene is very specific. Whatever pulled him forward is very weird. Anyways, as they walk back into the room, this is whenever Kirishima, he is just pissed off, saying that they are missing students from Class 1A and they are trying to figure this out. So what does that even mean? As Deku, he just gets pissed off. He immediately just smoked out. He just turns in the air and just goes through the vents, going to the top of the roof. He immediately does that, and he would turn around, seeing that there's someone there. He's confused by this as he just yells at them and begins chasing them. He begins chasing them down, and as soon as he does so, he would actually find a note on him, as the man turns to dust and disappears. He's thinking that, wait, that's a conduit ability. So this was a fake or a copy? Oh, God damn it. As he picks up the note, reading it, he just finds that it has some information. Students, this warehouse, this time, come alone. As Deku is confused, asking, how does he know? This is whenever a piece of paper would fly at Deku, or let's just say that he's asking this question, and in the dust, it immediately just writes out, "Don't ask," as he immediately just starts running toward the warehouse. He actually calls up everyone else, calling Todoroki, Kendo, Toru, and as many people as he can. He would have called them slowly by calling... He would have called Uraka... Actually, no, let's say he used super telekinesis. Now, the reason why their abilities went out of control is because they actually got stronger. The fact that their conduit gene was awakened, it was already very difficult for their body. But going through another one of those blasts and absorbing more of that radiation, it actually increased their abilities. That's why they actually went psycho back in the sports festival with their abilities. He would have used it and he would have said, "Don't freak out." As everyone in the room who has the conduit ability, they immediately just somewhat move and they just don't react. As he just says, "Scan the room and act surprised." Also, take notes. He's telling them that whatever happened, as soon as he came outside, there was someone there. He's thinking it was another conduit. They are immediately in shock as Deku saying that he gave him some information. Whoever has our friends is at this dock and is over here. But I'm not sure exactly how or why they told us. Uraka would just say that I'm pretty sure they're trying to lead you into a trap. Well, trap or not, I at least have that little hope that it's not. So, if I don't come back, just know I went to this address on this street toward this dock at this time. I will try and get into contact with you guys around 10 minutes later. If I'm not in contact, try and reach out. Now, as soon as he says this, he basically switches off to a different ability. As everyone is confused and Uraka links up their minds. She would go on saying that this is quite weird. Why is he acting alone? Well, you have to think, he feels responsible for all this. He can use all of her abilities, yet he's just... As May would actually somewhat nudge on one of their shoulders, she'd ask exactly what's going on. Uraka would just immediately bring her in on the information that Deku's doing this, and he's heading here. May wouldn't care because she's just dumbfounded, saying that she can't believe that she forgot her ability. What do you mean ability? Oh, didn't I tell you? I'm a conduit. I think I'm a hybrid now, as you guys call them. It's very weird, but it's cool. Look at this. As she immediately holds up a piece of tech, pulling and ripping it apart very carefully. As she shows that not only can she do that, but she can control it by just doing this. As her eyes somewhat glaze over with the code, people are watching as she is doing all this crazy stuff. Tsunade would just tell her that she needs to get out of the room if she's going to be doing that, because that is very distracting. She would leave along with everyone else, and they would all begin asking, "Wait, so if you're a hybrid now, does that mean Deku has your abilities?" What? No. What do you mean? Did Deku touch you during the sports festival? What? No, I don't have the relationship with that guy. Not like that. Did he make skin-to-skin contact? Well, he did help me up off the ground and help me get out of that rubble, but as she looks down, she realizes that she still has her gloves on. She would just say that whenever he helped me, I did have my gloves on. Why? Okay. Now then. Deku would arrive later that day and find that at the facility, there is at least a couple people around and no one. He is confused by this. He's thinking that no one's inside, but a lot of people are outside. So what does that mean? As he would walk in, basically by just turning into air and dispersing. He would come in as mist and immediately just see what's going on. He sees Jiro and Momo hooked up to different machines, as they are also hooked up to IV drips and everything. Kaminari and Ibarra, they are in the next room over. They would just say that this one's tested positive, but the rest they're not really sure about. As the man immediately begins by clicking a button, Jiro is spazzing out as she is now having her blood drained, along with a mysterious liquid being pumped into her. As she begins screaming, they are saying that I thought you guys said that was soundproof. It is, but her quirk's probably getting through. She's probably just using her quirk to amplify her screams. I hate quirks. You're telling me. Why are we doing this anyway? No clue. Apparently this is another way to make conduits. Wait, that's how... Is that how I was made? I don't remember very... I don't remember very much, but if that's at least close to how I was even created. So, what kind of conduit do you think she's going to awaken? No clue. They said basically anything you touch or around. So, she might awaken steel, she might awaken something else. Not really sure. As she's still screaming, it would eventually stop as she just goes limp. Momo is actually screaming and trying to essentially get out of her restraints. Trying to create things in her hand, but every time she does so, she immediately just gets hit by a lot of tasers, if not a lot of volts. Now then, Deku is now thinking even more on this. Alrighty, that was annoying. Now then, when we left off, Deku, Jiro was basically already seizing and going limp as soon as he got into the warehouse. That is what I meant to say. Now, afterward, Deku would take out and knock out the men, as he would open up whatever both of these two are in and get Momo out of her restraints, asking her what the hell they've been doing. She said that whenever the sports festival was over, these guys were very crazy and they just took them. They don't know what their quirks are, or if they even have quirks, but they just kept pumping that drug into Jiro. But she's not even sure if she's okay. As Deku runs over, he would just feel for a pulse, and he feels one, saying that she's alive, but she just needs to get her out of here. He is going to check with Kaminari and Ibarra, as he immediately whips his chain out. He would immediately just pull on it and set it on fire, as he walks into the next room. Momo watches this happen as she sees Deku just close the door behind him, and all you really hear are just a lot of shots going off, along with the sound of bones hitting walls. Now then, Deku would then get them free, and you see just him carrying Ibarra as he still has Kaminari slumped against his shoulder, saying that they got him, now we just need to get out of here. This is whenever Deku would just say he's got that handled, as he switches to telekinesis and just tells them that they have him, and to tell the heroes. The heroes, they would then be interrupted with Deku, well, not Deku, with Uraraka coming in saying that Deku found them and Deku found the students. In fact, they're not sure what. They were then met with Tsunade, who's glimpsing with surprise. He would just say that that's quite odd. He didn't predict this. People would immediately turn to look at Tsunade as he looks confused. If he didn't predict this, then what did he predict? Now then, afterwards, Deku, he would be brought to Tsunade as they are then being scolded but are also being congratulated. They managed to save 4 of their classmates and they got them back safely. But whatever's going on with Jiro's body is in a very delicate state right now. Whatever drug they pumped into her, it seems to be throughout her entire system. There's no flushing it out. They basically just drained her like a blood bag and pumped this in as a substitute. Now, as he's saying that, they are immediately just saying that they would immediately question the kids from Class 1A, asking them why they were essentially brought in. Kaminari would just say that from what he can remember, they kept talking about the conduit gene. They had some way of testing us for it. We're not sure how, but we're guessing blood samples. As they would all be brought to the hospital, and Kendo, everyone would arrive, and you have Mei Hatsume there, too. Deku's just asking why is she even still hanging around. He thought she'd be at the support course or just hanging out at where her friends. She would just say that, oh well, I'm kind of one of you guys now. What is she talking about? As Mei would immediately hold something up, she reveals that she can control the tech. And this actually kind of surprises Deku. So we have a technopath, a telepath, and a pyropath. Neat. A pyropath, really? Oh, shut the fuck up, Human Torch. Things are a bit more difficult now. As they immediately just hear very, very loud music and the walls are shaking. This is confusing as everyone runs in the next room where Jiro is, and she is just gleaming and obliterating everything around her in a very white and loud light. Now then, Deku, he is confused, but this is whenever All Might would run past him and actually just grab Jiro and actually start just trying to wake her up. Jiro would eventually wake up, and she would find that she's doing this. She would immediately just try getting out of All Might's grasp. She would turn into a white light and immediately just go out through the window. As that happened, Deku, he immediately goes to run toward the window, but Kendo beats him as she gets out there, and she actually catches Jiro. Now then, as that happened, they would then start asking her what happened or what's going on, and she would just break down, explaining that whatever they did to her, it feels different, it feels weird. Her senses feel like they're dialed to 11. Now then, that is where I'm going to be leaving things off, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I kept getting interrupted, so this is coming out. It's supposed to come out at 4:30. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed.